Well, we're here in Riyadh after a quite incredible, unforgettable night of boxing. Andy Clark, I don't even know where to start. There are a few upsets here and there. I mean, some massive upsets. But let's start with Anthony Joshua, who we've literally just watched in the ring. He stopped Otto Wallin. Bit of a statement.
It was, because let's not forget that during the week people were saying that this was a really dangerous fight and a fight that he could lose. So I don't want people now after the event kind of being revisionist and saying, well, Otto Wallin's not really a top guy. There was jeopardy involved in this fight, and he answered all the questions tonight, Joshua, I thought. We've wanted to see him commit and really put some weight behind his punches, step in. And he did all of those things.
Did everything.
He did all of those things. He never let Wallin into the fight, and he just beat him up methodically and clinically and really proficiently, without taking any risks, without giving anything away for 5 rounds. And that was a really good stoppage by Joey Gamache, the trainer, because he's a very experienced guy. And we went into the corner sound after that 5th round, and he looked at Otto on the stool and said, that's it. And his fighter didn't complain. And then he just said to Steve Gray, the referee, we're done. And all that awaited Otto Wallin at that point was a couple more rounds of punishment and a knockout. That was all that was awaiting him. So
it was inevitable. It was coming.
Yeah, it was. It was the right thing to do. And I really like to see it, because we heavyweights, any weight, we love a knockout. Everybody loves a knockout, but there are some knockouts you don't need to see, and that was one. But really good from Joshua, really good.
The best Anthony Joshua performance since?
I mean, that's a good question, because I mean, he stopped Pulev and increasingly looked good in that fight, but it took him a bit of time to kind of warm into it. So I mean, it's the best Joshua performance for quite a while, really. If you trace back to that first Klitschko fight, then he fought Takam and he did a decent enough job. Povetkin was a good performance, yeah. Had a couple of little rough moments in there, but ultimately stopped a really good guy at the midway stage. So yeah, I make you right. I'd say since Povetkin, and that's great, because he wants this new chapter. He feels like he's got plenty left, and it looks like he has. And there's no way he's going back to Derek James now. And that's no cuss on Derek James. It's just, that was a really good performance. So you stay with the people who helped you achieve it.
It's interesting, because in the Derek James camp, it was the whole idea of, there's so many lions surrounding him. There's guys who are, maybe they get more Derek James time. Guys like Errol Spence, the Charlos. He's not the king necessarily of that gym. He is the king of this gym, but it has suited him. Why would you change anything when that camp, everything seemed perfect? Tonight was perfect, really, from Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, it was, and people talk about boxing at heart being quite a simple sport. Everything's simple if you've got clarity of mind, if you've got a game plan and you know what it is that you want to achieve. He's always had really good fundamentals, Anthony. Always. Good jab, lovely right hand, hook off that right hand. You don't really need too much more than that if you're a really big, strong, well-organised fighter. Jab, right hand, left hook. And that was what he did. He put the left hook on the back of things quite early, which was quite encouraging, but it was the right hand that did the damage, and you could see that it was shaking Wallin. It was good. It was good to see. It was really good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. My feeling is always a winning Anthony Joshua is a good thing for the heavyweight division, and it's a good thing for boxing. He is a megastar. He is a superstar. People watch him now. People want to see him in. Okay. Well, we know what happened to Wilder. We'll talk about Wilder very shortly. But that Fury fight, suddenly people are talking about that. Otto Wallin is a mutual opponent of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua now. And Anthony Joshua just made him retire on his stool.
Exactly, and this is a game that we have to play in boxing, because it's not a sport with straightforward metrics. Track and field, you can compare times and distances, and you know where everybody is. But in boxing, we can't do that. So what you do is compare common opponents. The closer they are in proximity, the better. And Wallin, that was a while ago, I guess, is the only thing I might say about that. But if anything, Wallin should be better now.
Exactly. He's just come off that win over Gassiev
Exactly. So that was he's laid down the marker there, Joshua, to say basically, listen, all of you lot who thought that I was done, I'm back.
Yes.
And it's great to have him back, because as we say, Wilder lost. Tonight wouldn't have been a great night if they both lost. If you deserve to lose, then you deserve to lose. But at the same time, those are two massive names, and we'd have been left scratching our heads a little bit, I think, if they both lost.
Well, Joseph Parker I mean, an upset win. People were talking about banana skins this week. He was pretty perfect tonight. Tyson Fury's advice throughout all of this was, you stay away from the right hand and you'll be all right. Guess what he did tonight? He stayed away from the right hand.
He did, and the tactics were good. You know, he had a lot of success with that big overhand right. You know, he dipped quite low, get his head low, dip off to his left-hand side and throw it over the top like he was hurling a javelin, but getting even lower than you would see a javelin thrower. And it made it really hard to counter because he just moved straight in behind it.
Yes.
And he wasn't even on his opponent's shoulder. He was down by their hip somewhere. So the only way Wilder could do something about it would have been if he just started to read it, back up, give himself some room, and then throw the uppercut. And that's what Malik Scott was asking him for, but he just couldn't do it. And because he can tend to stand quite tall and square, that big kind of bowling overhand right will often hit something. And it looks good, and it's really easy to see for judges, all those kinds of things. So I thought he won every round. The
only man ever in trouble in that 12 rounds was Deontay Wilder. He was hurt at one point.
Yeah, you know, he's dangerous every second he's in there, more so than any fighter in history has been, possibly. But he just couldn't get anything going at all, and you have to give Parker the credit for that. Listening to him speak in the ring afterwards, I feel like maybe that could be it, because we've been talking about how he's been different this week, and I don't think it's a good different, not for a fighter. I think the change in his attitude during fight week and his overall demeanour, I think is a good thing for the rest of his life, but I don't think it's a good thing for his fighting career, because as much as we didn't really like to hear him talk about getting bodies on his record and that spite and darkness he used to bring, for a fighter that's not a bad thing.
That is a fascinating point that you've raised there, Andy, in that's actually something I've seen Eddie Hearn point out. Everyone's talking about Anthony Joshua's demeanour. Oh, is he too edgy and this and that? Wilder's been so happy, but maybe Wilder's lost his edge. And also Wilder, as you say, he's been going on these kind of retreats and he's been finding himself, and he's found this inner kind of zen. Does that inner zen still have access to the bronze bomber? This Dr. Sleep tonight couldn't put Joseph Parker to sleep.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's that old scene in Rocky 3, isn't it? When, you know, Rocky's talking to Mickey about fighting Clubber Lang. Everything comes back to Rocky. We all know this.
Always, of course it does.
And he says, you know, and he doesn't want him to take the fight because, you know, he's young and he's hungry and he's mean. He's an animal, Rock. You used to be hard and nasty and you're not anymore. You got civilized. That's the line. And they all get civilized at some point. You can't stop it. You know, he's got kids. He's nearly 40. He's made loads of money. The defeats probably would have changed him a bit because you have to confront that and find a way past that. It's hard when you lose to the same person twice too, because how do you explain that really, other than maybe he's better than me? The ayahuasca, you know, what used to be the most important thing in the world by a mile, which was winning a boxing match, all of a sudden just isn't anymore. And when that starts to happen, that's time to go, because this is a dangerous business.
Just remember why he got into the sport. It was because his daughter was very, very ill. He got into boxing initially, Andy, to become a journeyman. He didn't think he'd go where he has gone. So he has more than changed his daughter's life, more than changed his life. When he gets up in the morning and there's already talk of retirement, oh, I've got the money, his accounts people are on the phone to him saying, you don't need to fight anymore. You've made enough money. That's got to play up there somewhere.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And I think fighters tell me that going out off the back of a stoppage is hard. It's very, very difficult to do because it's just so unsatisfactory. But going out off the back of a distance defeat where you've had 36 minutes to make something happen like you've always been able to, and you couldn't, and you never even really came close to doing it, that maybe tells you that it's over, because it's over for everybody at some point. And if that is it for him, you know, he's been great, isn't he? He's been amazing to watch. You know, possibly the most devastating puncher in the history of the sport, given the, and I'm not just talking about the stats there, more just the ability to knock somebody out from almost anywhere.
Yeah, at any given second.
Yeah, at any given second, and that's absolute box office. But from what we saw there, I don't think he has that anymore. And that's not to take anything away from Parker, who was terrific, but I just don't think it might be there against somebody not as good, and if he chooses to come back. But if he chooses to come back and...
What's the motivation at this point?
Yeah, I mean, does he want to drop down and chalk up a win and then go back in again? I don't think so.
Well, let's see. It'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Where next? Let's just go back to the kind of the winners and what could happen next with the winners. So Anthony Joshua, all the talk was next he's going to fight Deontay Wilder. I don't know if that will still be the case or not, but he is now in that position with the IBF, with that win over Otto Wallin, where if the belt becomes vacant, he will be ordered to fight Filip Hrgović for that belt. Do you see that as his next move?
I mean, it could be now, couldn't it? Because we're not going to see Joshua Wilder. I don't think the appetite would be there for it, would it, to be honest with you? So...
Although, but just to add, by the way, Conor McGregor, who I managed to get a quick selfie with, check it out on my Insta, I said to him, you'd still watch Joshua Wilder though, wouldn't you? And he said in his, I'm not going to try and do his accent, he said 1,000,000%. So he'd watch it.
Yeah, and it's always worth gauging that kind of opinion, canvassing that kind of opinion from people who aren't us, basically, because massive fights like that, they live and die by the more casual interest, not us, because we'll watch anything.
Sure.
I don't know, though. I don't know. If he does take Hrgović next, then that wouldn't be until the second half of the year, because we'd have to wait for Fury Usyk and then say they rematch, and at that point, that's when the belts will splinter. So then you've got to wonder what's going to happen on March the 9th, because we know that something will, because Fury Usyk being delayed didn't scupper this date, did it? They had to put this together for this date. They've got another date on March the 9th, so we know that something's going to happen. We're pretty confident it's not going to be Joshua Wilder. I think we can be pretty confident of that anyway. Because something's got to happen, and maybe Anthony will want to fight again in March, because he's boxed 3 times this year for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, been a long time.
And it's worked, hasn't it? Because he's finished the year well.
What if the opponent is Joe Parker? A rematch with him?
Yeah, why not?
Look, the guys here will have seen them both win their fights tonight, and maybe they just think, well, stick them in with each other.
I mean, it's the logical thing. It's the logical thing, and I don't think they're too hung up on belts, to be honest with you. The Saudis who are putting the fights on, His Excellency, I don't think they are, because look at Jai Opetaia. They seem to really like him, and I can totally understand why.
How can you not? Goodness me.
I think they'll just look to make a really good fight for him next. It maybe Breedis again, because he's a big name. There wouldn't be a belt there, but I don't think anyone would be particularly bothered.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the winner stays on thing. You look at it, and Joshua Parker, equally maybe Dubois Caballero. That could be another one.
Or Dubois Joshua, or Dubois Parker. Let's talk about Daniel Dubois, because tonight he has put himself in the frame with that. For me, that's a career best performance because of what he had to go through. A couple of tricky moments in there. He ended up putting the big baby to sleep. It
was a hard fight, and watching it got hard really quickly, because he boxed the wrong fight in the first half. Probably for the first 6 rounds, I would say, he boxed the wrong fight. And Don was telling him after every round that you're boxing the wrong fight. But he didn't really... The light bulb didn't go on until, I would say, round 7. I had it 3 each through 6. And then I thought he won 7, 8, 9. And so Miller needed a knockout. And then actually it was Daniel who got the stoppage. And there were times in there where he could have felt sorry for himself and swallowed it, basically, if his minerals were suspect, which some people have suggested that they are, and with good reason, or with some reason, after what happened against Usyk. But he didn't. So that was a big, big night for him. A big night. Really was. And when he actually started listening to the corner and made it a bit easier for himself, he actually did make it pretty easy for himself. There was one moment that I was able to witness where Daniel, as you say, perhaps started feeling a bit sorry for himself in there. The pressure was really coming on from Miller. It might have been around the 5th round or so. And Frank Warren called over Daniel's dad, Dave Dubois. And Dave looked at Daniel and he said, "Wake up! Wake up! Come on, Daniel!" And then he carried on shouting out encouragement from ringside, which he was missing for the first sort of 4 or 5 rounds. Now, that's your old man who's been with you since the very start, who took the first sort of punches on his hands kind of thing. I think he got him through it. Yeah, maybe, because he just didn't really see... It didn't really seem to be going in what the corner was saying to him, because watching it, it was quite kind of... I mean, things can be quite obvious from ringside in a way that they're obviously not if you're in there. Not that I've ever done it, but it was obvious that he was doing the wrong thing, and Don was telling him he was doing the wrong thing, but he just didn't seem able to flick the switch, and yeah, that could have been the difference. Maybe your dad just saying, now, you know, listen, you know, do what you need to do and you can win this fight. If you keep going like this, it's going to be really, really hard. Because Miller was just walking him down and walking him down and walking him down. And
taking everything.
Yeah, and you just got to trust that at some point it's going to have an impact, which it did. But when he kept it longer, kept it more on the outside, he just stopped taking as much back. That was the crucial thing. Yeah,
and I guess all these question marks, as you say, about, you know, was he going to swallow in there? Does he have the heart? Does he have the temperament? I think he's probably exercised a lot of ghosts tonight with what's happened there. He's had a guy 100 pounds heavier than him that he'd have to keep pushing off because he's just on him like that. He had to go through a storm. He's overcome it. So what on earth does that do for Daniel Dubois' mindset? Have we got a new Daniel Dubois? We saw him in Fight Week as well, saying all this about, you know, every baby has a daddy and I'm going to spank you. This feels like a whole new Daniel Dubois now with that win.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think it would have been a bit of a light bulb moment for him, that fight, because he managed to make the adjustments that he needed to make, having started out in the wrong vein. And again, if they want to, people can say, well, Miller's only boxed 3 times in 5 years and he's a drug cheat and this, that and the other, and he's never really beaten a big name. But he looked pretty handy to me in the first half of that fight. Yeah. He's carrying that weight pretty well still. And that was a big test, and it was exactly the test that Frank Warren wanted, because he was talking to us about it during the week, and he was basically saying, look, this is it for him. We've put him in this fight because if he's going to win this fight, there's no way it's going to be easy, just no way. It's going to be hard, and he's going to have to dig deep. If he has the ability to dig deep, he can win. If it turns out he doesn't have the ability to dig deep, he will lose, and we will know that he's not what we thought he was.
Well, what next for Daniel Dubois? Because Joe Joyce has been active on his social media tonight, and he's actually ordered a fight between Daniel Dubois and Joe Parker, the 2 guys that he's beaten, and the winner gets the rematch, the prize of the rematch with Joe Joyce. Thoughts?
Okay, I like his style, firstly.
Good style.
I like his style. I mean, I'd definitely be keen to see Dubois Joyce again.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm
Dubois
sure.
Parker as well?
Yeah, all of them. They'd all be good. I'd have thought Dubois would be keen on the Joyce rematch to try and level that ledger. Well. I think he would really fancy that, and I think that's a good fight for Joe, because having beaten him once, he'll be confident he can beat him again. There's no way Joyce is calling it a day off the back of getting knocked out by Zhilei Zhang. There's just absolutely no way that's happening.
Well, you mentioned Zhilei Zhang there, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you there. I got tagged in an Instagram story from Zhilei Zhang, which was him pointing at the camera and pointing at the TV saying, not impressed, not impressed. Zhang beats everyone. This was his message. So he's watching, wherever he is in the world, he is watching old Chairman Zhang, and he believes he can beat everyone.
Well, he will be getting the call from this part of the world, won't he? I mean, how can he not? You know, you look at all the heavyweights we had here this week, and the only ones who are really missing are Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and him, if you're thinking about really obvious top guys.
Yeah, the very top.
So yeah, we'll be seeing him soon, I'm sure. As for who against, yeah, I mean, again, you know, Parker,
it's fascinating, isn't it?
Any of them, really,
all of these guys, like, I just want to see them fight other people now. I'm so thrilled and hyped with what happened tonight. Winning Anthony Joshua is back. He stopped Otto Wallin. He should get credit for that. People are hyping up Wallin, saying he's coming off this great win against Gassiev. He's a guy that nearly beat Tyson Fury, gave him a big cut, 46 stitches, all of that stuff. So heading into it, he had all of that pressure, Joshua, and the pressure of being on the same show as Deontay Wilder. People talking about this future fight. And actually, he took it all in his stride and put in the best performance for many, many years.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, that is literally what happened. And it was a good night because, you know, when this card was put together, obviously it really caught the eye because it was done so quickly and because of the names on it. But people would look at it, and I understood why, and it was valid. to point it in and say, well, there's some good names on here, but they're not actually fighting each other. And it's all going to be left-hand side wins. Come on, we all know that. And it wasn't. You know, it wasn't. That was a massive win for Ajit Kabayel against Makhmudov.
Let's talk about it.
Big win. And, you know, obviously a massive win for Parker. So, you know, we had some interesting stuff to watch.
Well, on the Kabayel, you've brought it up there. I mean, he beat Makhmudov. Makhmudov, a giant, a terrifying-looking giant. His eyebrows appear to just be fixed in this villainous kind of position. And look, a lot of people just thought he was going to go through Kabayel, but he didn't. Kabayel ended up slaying this monster. How did he do it?
He just believed in himself, I think. I think he didn't buy into the hype. We did say during the week that Makhmudov was still largely unproven, and that was true. But Kabayel also is largely unproven. So in that sense, they were kind of equal. But then you just look at the size difference between the two of them, and Makhmudov just kind of quite naturally seemed to take the role of favourite.
Yeah.
Now he's lost. You look back on it and you kind of think, maybe I should have seen that coming, but I don't think so necessarily. It's just a really good performance. You know, he got really tight, he got close, he hurt him to the body, and then he just never let him off the hook.
Yeah, absolutely that. We're expecting an Anthony Joshua press conference in around 5 minutes, so do stick with us on this stream as we continue to chew the fat. Back to Kabayel. Now, Makhmudov, yeah, I mean, he kind of ended up taking a bit of a beating in there. There was a lot of big shots to the body. He found himself on the floor. What was frightening for me, and I tweeted this as well, that neck twitch that he does, which is quite terrifying, he was still doing it as he was sort of trying to find his way back to his feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one for him, this, because the headshots he seemed to take okay, and he was moved by them, but he seemed to take them okay. His eyes looked clear. But that kind of weakness to the body, I don't think he'll have been expecting that. Heavyweights you don't really tend to think about that as much, do you? You tend to think about people getting cleaned out with a solid punch to the head.
You don't get many heavyweight body punches.
Not really, no. Not really. So to get sunk by body shots, that'll need addressing. I mean, he'll be back. He'll definitely be back. But it just shows that you don't know what's going to happen. No. We never actually know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. In this heavyweight division, and it seems like a bit of air has left the balloon of the Makhmudov kind of hype train, but as you say, I'm sure he can be back. I'm sure he can mix it with the other guys on this. Ellis Soro, Jai Opetaia. I mean, I feel for Ellis in there. Initially, looked like he had a little bit of success, seemed to back him up a little bit, but then a punch from out of absolutely nowhere put Ellis Soro, you know, very much on the canvas, couldn't get up. Yeah,
it was a bad one, that. It was a bad one, that, because, you know, it's that long left hand which he was pulling back. He probably felt like he might be able to get out of the way of it or pull back out of distance, but Opetaia's got long arms on him, and he does step in and really commit. And as he went down and you saw him kind of land on the bottom rope and his head just kind of nestle on the bottom rope, it was a tough one to watch, that. But he was back up on his feet in time for the announcement, which was good. He's undefeated, completely undefeated, wasn't he, as you were telling me, because he never lost at all. Hopefully he can rebound from this, get over this, because I think he can. Because it's such a big step up in level. But sometimes when fighters are early in their career, if they get knocked out cold with a one-punch knockout, it can be very, very difficult to recover from. But as I say, he was on his feet for the announcement. He wasn't stretched out. He'll probably remember most of it, of what happens. And these might seem like odd things to point out, but if you get knocked out cold and you end up going to hospital and you don't really have any memory of it, I think that's just really traumatic. And that's where the kind of PTSD from something like that can prove very hard. Hopefully this one won't be like that.
Yeah. Well, look, it wasn't a sustained beatdown or anything like that. So he didn't take a beating in there. He just got hit by a shot that he didn't see, and he ended up asleep. But I mean, yeah, I guess there's worse ways. I don't know. As you talk about, that can be hard to get over with the PTSD. I guess he's going to watch it back, but maybe he'd prefer that to taking a beating over sort of 10 rounds and getting pulled out on his stool.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that physically a doctor would tell you, a physician would tell you that getting knocked out deep in a fight when your resistance levels are really, really low, when you're exhausted and fatigued, is potentially much more dangerous. There's no question about that. Psychologically, that's easier to get over though, because from what I'm told, because it's easy to explain, well, I gave it everything and I was knackered.
Yeah.
And he caught me, and maybe I could have caught him, and that's just how that went. Whereas when you get your lights turned out by a single punch, but I think what will help is because it was him, and he's so good. You know, if it happened against someone on your own level, I think that would be really tough.
It's
but
because
because it was him and he's so good, I think. Yeah, you know, he's a level-headed guy, Ellis. He strikes you as being an intelligent lad. You know better than me. I think he's got the tools to be able to rebound from it.
His mentality is incredible.
Yeah, I think he has. I think he has.
If he's kept that after taking the first loss that he's ever taken, he'll be in a good place. He'll be back. Yeah. Dimitri Bivol, UD win over Lyndon Arthur. Now, it felt like he kind of won every round in there. How did you see it?
Yeah, he did. He did win every round, but I thought Lyndon did well, because the reality is with fights like his and Ellis Sorrow's, we speak to them during the week, and we're never going to suggest to them, but you'd be happy if you went the distance and lost, wouldn't you? We can't say that to them, because they'll never agree with it, and they might be a bit offended by it. But actually, we know that, not that they would accept it if they were offered it, but we know that should that turn out to be what happens, they'll be able to take some pride in it. And I think that's definitely what happened there, because it was just so hard for him. And you could argue that maybe he should have tried this and tried that, but Bivol just wouldn't allow him to. And if he'd been more expansive, maybe he'd have got knocked out, because he's really, really good.
Yeah, Bivol is really good.
And by the end, it was a case of making it to the final bell. After about 6 or 7 rounds, we went into the corner, and Pat was kind of saying, Pat Barrett, you know, you need to roll the dice a bit more, you need to do a bit more, you know, this is a world title fight. Then after he got put down, what he was saying to him was, I think there was only a round to go actually, what he was saying to him was, you know, do you want to get knocked out in the final round, or do you want to go the distance, you know? But by that point, they knew they'd lost. But the moral victory was still there, or, you know, the confidence that you could take away from hanging with Bivol for 12 rounds was still there. And he showed a solid chin. You know, he took some good clean shots. Yeah. He held his boxing together. I thought he did well. You know, I thought he did well.
Look, it's also short notice against maybe the number one
Had a
or
problem
number
with his
two.
foot, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure how you know, if he was full fitness for it, but you got to take the opportunity. So he had an opportunity to dethrone Dimitri Bivol. He couldn't take it tonight. But if he goes away and explains it to himself, as fighters often do, he can say, I took it at short notice, I had a go, and, you know, I'll be back, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you look back on it and you'll be able to kind of convince yourself, well, actually, you know what? If I'd just been a bit more confident, if I fought him again, I'd be more confident. I'd know that actually, you know, I can take his punches. I was maybe a bit too cautious. I'd let myself off the leash a bit earlier. Next time it could be different. You know, that's what you do. And yeah, I enjoyed watching that fight though, because Bivol is one of those guys where he definitely did want the stoppage.
Yes.
But he's never going to take any unnecessary risks. If it's 12-0, it's 12-0, and he's happy with 12-0. But he tried everything he could to get Lyndon out of there the last kind of 4.5 minutes of the fight, and he couldn't quite manage it.
Yeah, make no mistake, he definitely was trying to stop him. He had, watching on from ringside, Conor McGregor, Cristiano Ronaldo. At one point in between rounds, he caught eyes with Conor McGregor, and he was like, we're actually now going to head over to Joseph Parker, career best win. Let's watch his press conference.
Hello. What do you think of the performance? Masterclass. That's what we call it.
All right, guys, we're just waiting for mics to come over with Louis, and then we can do a few questions. So, Joe, let's kick it off with this one. What do you think of your performance?
Listen, I came out with a plan, worked very hard this year. executed the plan that Andy had in place, and I felt good in the ring, and activity was very important, and it's good to get this win to finish the year off. Merry Christmas to us.
And what did you think of Deontay Wilder's performance?
I think inactivity played a big part, but just the plan. I think the plan that we had and sticking to it, he wasn't able to, do what he wanted to do.
Louis, if you want to ask a question, put your hand up, please.
Joseph, congratulations on an incredible performance. We know you were trying to stay away from the right hand, but you seem to be the one landing all the big right hands tonight. Was that to plan?
Andy said to me before the fight fire with fire. And if you're trying to run away from the right hand the whole time, then that's his plan. But we went in with our plan and we stuck to it. And this is the man. This is the man with the strategy.
And we know that Deontay Wilder was set to face Anthony Joshua, should both of them come through tonight. But now you've got the victory. Are you going to push for a Joshua fight?
I think first things first, we're going to have a nice break. We all want to go see our families, and we are ready for whatever fight they want to make, any fight.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hi, Joseph, thanks. Testament to your mental strength. Even after a stoppage defeat against Joe Joyce, came straight back in, no signs of any gun shyness, which often affects fighters after a first stoppage defeat. It looked like Deontay was the one gun shy in there. Every time you went on the attack, there was almost like panic in there. I mean, is it the work you've done with Andy that just psychologically gets you over that first stoppage defeat and not be hesitant?
Yeah, when you have someone like Andy in your corner with the experience that he has and being a world champion himself, he gives you the best advice in the corner. Take your chances.
I'll just say about that. This time last year, Joseph was at his lowest ebb. We'd not long lost to Joe Joyce. But it's testament to the courage, the heart, the mental strength, the skill that this man has. He didn't put his head down. He dug in deeper, trained harder, backed himself. And it can show you what anyone can do in this sport. This time last year, no one gave us a chance. Now he's just beaten Deontay Wilder in 12 rounds. Beat him every single round of it. That's what this man is. So it's a testament to him, and it's a sign to any young fighter, any fighter. It's not over. You can always come back, train hard, stay active.
Active, yeah. Stay active.
Mr. Parker, on the subject of activity, what sort of level of activity are you hoping to maintain in the next few years?
We want to, like Andy just said now, and I know David likes to see it as well, we want to be active and we want to fight as many times as we can in a year. This year we fought 4 times. It'd be nice to fight 4 times next year and keep the momentum going.
Parker, you said there's a little bit of ring rust. That was brutally honest. Do you think that you're doing your performance a little bit of a disservice by saying ring rust, because he has been training. He has. It's no. 1 round in 2 years is as a result of how lethal he is. Do you think you're doing your performance a little bit of a disservice by saying inactivity played a part?
I think we just executed our plan, and you can blame it on ring rust, but listen, as an experienced fighter and world champion, he knows what to do in camp, and he had sparring and he did everything right. So just
Can I say something else? Well, sorry. This week we've had to put up with a lot of stuff. Joshua Wilder, the deal is done. We got a tiny dressing room. We got a small hotel room. He's top of the bill. He's the main event. He's a former world champion. He's driving around in Rolls Royce. You know what I'm saying? All this talk, all these press conferences, it's all about Wilder and Joshua. This man had to put up with it all. He didn't get demoralized. He didn't get his head down. He just dug in again and showed how strong he is.
Parker, fantastic performance. Congratulations to you and the team. You thanked Tyson Fury after the fight. We asked you beforehand what role he had in camp. You didn't give too much away. Can you now tell us kind of what impact and what learnings he told you before the fight?
Yeah, our camp started off in Ireland, where Andy came up with his game plan and strategies, and we worked very hard. Great sparring in Ireland, a lot of kids there, and a lot of great fighters and good boxers. And then we moved over to England for a week, and Tyson gave us his time and showed us a few things, and we did rounds of sparring, which was invaluable for this fight. And you know, so that's why I thanked him, because he always gave us time to help in camp.
Andy, I don't want to boast, but I picked Joe to win.
Good man. I saw that today.
Yeah, thanks, mate. What would you like to see Joseph Parker do next?
He's ready for anybody in the world. We're all behind Tyson in this unification fight. And we know he's going to win. But outside of Usyk and Tyson, we'll fight anybody. Joe'll fight anybody. He's proven he's elite. He's number 3 in the world, if you ask me. And he could be number 1 when he gets the opportunity. So that's all I'm saying. Yeah, he's ready for anybody. Joshua, Ruiz, who else is there? I'd like to see him get the Joshua fight, avenge that loss, and then challenge. Well, listen, we don't ever want to fight Tyson, but we can see him winning the fight. So hopefully he retires by then, after 2 good wins over Usyk, and then Joe will fight whoever's left.
Abdulatif Al Sheikh from Al Arabiya channel. Congratulations. Welcome to Saudi again. I want to hear about all your trip from here, from you, the first step in Saudi till now, about all the experience you had.
We've had a great experience in Saudi. This is my 3rd time here. And I did thank the people of Saudi for welcoming us, myself and the team, and treated us. The treatment has been great. And what can I say? We've had a wonderful time here, and we look forward to coming back again.
Thank you.
Matt Lenehan for Boxing Social. Joseph, you've had some big wins in your career, becoming world champion. Where does a victory over Deontay Wilder rank on that list?
Listen, it's a top win. Listen, a win over Andy Ruiz was great at the time, and now this one's massive. So, yeah.
Look at this man. He's a modern day great, like the old school fighters. Let's read off the resume. Ruiz, Takam, Bofa, Joyce, Joshua, Chisora twice, Dillian White, Wilder. I'm probably forgetting a few. And a few more good fighters in between then.
Yeah.
Fights them all. So, we were supposed to fight Zhang. He got injured. Then we were supposed to fight Dubois. Then now he's fought Wilder. And so who's next?
Yeah, this is Mr. Barker. This is Khalaf Al-Khalaf from NBC channel. How would you describe this night? 8 matches, 16 fighters. How would you describe it?
Listen, this is a wonderful event, and great to be a part of it. And there was a lot of upsets in the fights, and a lot of entertaining fights. And listen, what can I say? It's an amazing event that everyone enjoyed. And now we're ready to go back to the hotel and have a burger and chips and a drink and relax.
Hi, Joseph. First of all, congrats to an impressive performance against one of the most dangerous guys in this division. I just would like to know, was there at one specific point in the fight where you realized that you're about to win this fight?
Yeah, Andy told me every round that I was leading the fight. The first 6 rounds, and then he said, do what you're doing, keep it up, and don't get bored. Don't get bored of it, and keep it up. That was it, yeah.
Hi, hello. We are delighted to have you here. Saudi Arabia always welcome you.
Louis.
I hope you are happy here.
Say it again.
Yes. We are delighted to have you
Oh,
here.
I'm very happy.
Saudi Arabia always welcome you. I hope you are happy here.
Very happy here.
Yes. Thank
Very
you.
happy, thank you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks very much.
Have a great night, and I'll see you soon.
Post-fight press conference, they're jubilant, they're very happy. One thing that really stood out to me, Andy Lee was talking about this guy's resume, and we had a little moment where we thought, you know what, actually, he has boxed everyone. He's beaten Deontay Wilder now, Andy Ruiz, Derek Chisora. He's been in with Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just remember 2018 really clearly, because he boxed Joshua, and then 3 months later he was back boxing Dillian Whyte, and that was a really, really close fight. It was a great fight. He was one punch away in the last 15 seconds there. Just needed to land one more and he'd have got the win. Anthony Joshua is hoving into view very shortly. But yeah, he's already had a good career, and who knows what's next.
I think we're going to head over to Eddie Hearn for some questions.
9 o'clock, I think, back to London. So AJ will just be a couple of minutes. I thought I'd come. If you've got any questions, fire away in the meantime.
Eddie, emphatic from AJ linking up with Ben Davison. Do you think that'll be the go-to from now on? We saw punch perfect pretty much from the minute the first round started.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's always looking to, as he said, chase greatness and improve. Ben has been a fantastic addition to the team. Obviously, it wasn't just the 6 weeks that he had for Otto Wilde, and it was the weeks before that where he was training in the UK. You know, Barry, Lee Wiley, they've proved to be an incredible training camp this year, a great training camp for a number of fighters. And, you know, Ben said to me this week, wait till you see AJ perform this week. And you know, I was hopeful that we'd see that, and we saw it, so they deserve a lot of credit as well.
Radio Raheem, I saw you in the ring after the fight and was curious if you had any comments about the Wilder performance. I know Joshua passed on that. What do you have to say about what you saw Wilder do in the ring tonight?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Joe, we're so happy for Joe. We had signed the Wilder contract. It was going to be announced tonight, but it's boxing, you know, and it's one that we believed we would win. And, you know, if anyone was going to beat him, I was pleased it was Joe. He looked terribly out of sorts. I didn't really give him a round. You know, even when the referee was reading out the decision, he was raising his hands as if he might get the decision. So it was a strange performance, but we can only take care of what we do. And obviously Anthony tonight put in a performance to put the heavyweight division on notice. And now here he is. And obviously Freddie Cunningham, 258, Ben Davison, AJ, myself. We're going to keep this to about 15 minutes, guys, because of the time. So over to the floor for questions.
Hi, this is a question for AJ. Hi, AJ, it's Aisha here from iBoxing Hub. All week people have been talking about your focus. What are the things that actually affect your focus? And I know previously you've spoken about your belief in God. Is that something that's affected your focus in kind of in a positive way, obviously?
In a positive way. So in terms of focus, when you're in training camp, you're around the same faces day in, day out for, let's say, 11 weeks. And then on the week of the fight, now you open yourself up to like media obligations, questions about your future, etc., etc. So one has to stay focused, even though he's now opening himself up to media obligations, the bright lights of Saudi Arabia, the boulevard, it looks really good, your family's traveling out here. I need to keep my mind on the fact that I'm here to do a job and I'm in for a serious fight. But like with prayer, some people call it meditation, some people call it deep thinking. You keep your mind on track, keep focused. I call it prayer, and I just pull myself back, put my feet on the ground, and God answered my prayers today, and I was victorious. I prayed for Wallin as well. I see him getting stitched up. He'll be all right, and he'll return to fight another day.
Oh, hi, Eddie. Rahul here from Punch Out Boxing. I don't know if you remember about 18 months ago, I put it to you that it could be prudent for AJ to forego the Usyk rematch to give him a chance to maybe have tune-ups where he can work on things without that extra jeopardy of fighting an elite fighter. Do you think these 3 tune-ups this year, because of that activity that AJ's missed out on, because of the championship level fights, do you think that's helped him? And question for Ben as well, how many levels more do you think you can get out of AJ? Because unlike, say, Usyk, AJ has yet to probably reach his ceiling. It looks like he's still improving in his 30s.
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to say that Otto Wallin was number 2 with the IBF. You know, he was due to fight for the world title, so that's elite level. You know, I think it says everything that you almost look at Otto Wallin as a tune-up. That's because Anthony Joshua is at elite level. But yeah, look, every fight's fight by fight. We had a fantastic camp, great performance, and we'll go from there.
AJ, Eddie just said that the Deontay Wilder fight was signed. I mean, how disappointed and annoyed are you? You've done your job tonight and you did it brilliantly. How annoyed are you that he didn't and that fight now seems to be dead?
I'm not too sure what can happen from here, but I'm sure from a fan perspective they'll be more annoyed. For me, I always understand how this game is. It's, you never know. This is elite level boxing. The day reckoning was an amazing card. Wilder just came up short, but he'll live to fight another day. Me and him could still get it on. We could still get it cracking. I believe I'm a massive threat. I still think Wilder's a threat, and I still think it does amazing numbers if we get it on. But I'll leave that down to my management, trainers, promoters to make the decision. I'm down to fight anyone, whenever, and whoever.
Josh, because the Wilder fight was sort of more or less done as most of us knew, you weren't really being pestered about what would happen next. You weren't being asked about retirement, but 2 times in this week you said, if I don't win Saturday, there's no future. Would that have been the end for you if you hadn't won tonight?
Oh, no, not the end. Like, I think it's amazing what Parker done tonight. He came up short against Joe Joyce and he showed resilience. It pays off. Daniel Dubois came up short a few times, showed resilience. It pays off. You should only give up when that competition within yourself, that competitive spirit dies. So for me personally, I'm a fierce competitor. You can ask my pals, like whether it's spelling games, whether it's chess, whatever it may be, Wordle, we all compete with each other. And I think that you should always try and find that winning streak again, even if you're coming up short a few times. So the win pushes us onto higher heights. That's the great thing about boxing. But if you come short, definitely keep on striving for greatness if you're a competitor. So I would have never given up if I fell short today. No way.
Sherry Abbasi for TKO Boxing. Anthony, first of all, congratulations on the victory. Just wanted to ask,
Sorry, I can't see. Yes, there you go.
Sorry. Over the years, we've been told you're quite an inquisitive person. You like to know why, not just do this and do that. Obviously, Ben Davison is known for his IQ and teaching.
And I can't hear properly. Sorry.
Louder as you can.
Sorry. I was saying Ben Davison's known for his IQ and sort of teaching people the little nuances. How important has that been in this camp to teach you to sort of change a game and find that sort of killer instinct again? Because tonight we saw you throwing those right hands, the pull counter, all these little things that you've done previously against southpaws, like Charles Martin when you won the world title. How important has he been for you this training camp?
You know what's interesting? I think Ben can answer that question a lot better than I can, because he's a vet. He's not a veteran because he's still young, but he's a scholar of the game. And when we spoke, he saw what I've been trying to achieve in the business. And you know when someone understands you and a light bulb comes on and you just finally get it? And that was it. So he still pushed me towards trying to achieve what I'm achieving. He hasn't tried to change me. He still pushed me towards what I'm trying to achieve, but he's done it in a way where, because he knows boxing, he knows what I'm trying to do and he knows how to get it out of me in a way. You would have to ask him, but I don't want him to say too much because it's quite articulate and will give away quite a lot as well. But he switched the light bulb on in me this training camp, and I want to give a thanks to Ben Heine as well for pushing me to go down to Harlow and train. I was like, bro, I'm not going down Harlow, bro. I'm staying at Finchley. I was anti, like, I'm staying at Finchley, bro. And we went down there, and I appreciate your time as well.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. And I'm not going to say too much, but it's been good. It's been good, and I appreciate my team for pushing me in that direction.
As you talk sports here, AJ, a lot of people have said the best version of you is when you stick it on opponents and you're strong and you're powerful. But tonight, you showed that you can be a smart boxer and you really picked him apart. Do you think that you proved that tonight?
Once again, I'm not here to rate myself. This is another question that you would have to ask my team. But we spoke about what does it mean to stick it on someone. That means that anyone can come into the boxing gym and be a world champion or be successful. There's a lot more to it than that. And as I said, the light bulb has been switched on and we're on the same page for sure. But in terms of, was it good? Am I doing the right thing? I'm just following the instructions. You'll have to ask my team how they felt about my performance.
Anthony, Andrew McCart, IFL TV. You mentioned earlier, you said if you had the choice between three-time world champion or Deontay Wilder, you'd pick three-time world champion. Now with Wilder
no, so
losing...
let me explain that scenario to you. So let's say, for example, there was an option to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world or fight an opponent. I would always choose the heavyweight championship of the world because that is the creme de la creme, the most prestige title that you can win in boxing. Now, there is no title on the line. So if there's no title on the line, what does that mean? I'm going to fight Deontay Wilder. But the question that was asked is, what would you rather fight for? I would rather fight for the title. Now, the next question should be, but Anthony, there's no title on the line, so what would you like to do next? I would fight Deontay Wilder. So the question has to be correct in order to get the right answer. I answered the question. I didn't answer the way they wanted me to answer. I just answered the question that was provided to me. But I hope that clears up what the guy was trying to get out of me. But I've made it clear now is that I'm keen to fight anyone. But this week was fully focused on Otto Wallin.
Hi AJ, over here to your left. The German fans, the Zone Germany, also Ring Life Germany. I guess you haven't seen the fight of Ajit against Aslanbek Mahmudov today, but I know you know him, so could you tell for the German fans what do you think about Ajit and his performance and also his future in this division?
I've known Ajit for a long time. Me and Ajit have done many good rounds together in the gym. We work together. I spar Ajit's previous opponent, Agron. They had a great fight together. I know Ajit is a fierce heavyweight in the division. I was going to fight Ajit if I wasn't going to fight the day of reckoning. We was in negotiations. And the reason why I wanted to fight him because he's undefeated. He's a great fighter. And I want to test myself and challenge myself and put my skills up against his skills. I think Ajit can go a long way if he stays dedicated, which I'm sure he will. And I'm sure me and him will meet very soon.
This is a question. It's Gareth over here. To your right, Anthony.
Right, Gareth.
Gareth A. Davis. Could I ask this question to both you, Anthony, and to Eddie? It could well open up if Fury and Usyk fight on February the 17th, that the IBF title is available and Flip Hrgovic obviously is mandatory for that. Is that a fight you would like next? Is Hrgovic an opponent you'd like to fight for the IBF title to both Anthony and Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, for me, firstly, Anthony always will make the final decision. He's always takes advice, but he's the boss and he'll make the decision. He wants to become a three-time world heavyweight champion, so that could be an option, but there is a lot to play out with the IBF. It's not just a case of on February the 18th that belt will become vacant, because it won't. Now, if we're all involved in a situation together, i.e. here, maybe it does become vacant. But listen, I have to be honest, I would love to see him fight Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury can beat Alexander Usyk, I would love to see him fight Tyson Fury. I love that fight. I hope that Tyson can be triumphant in that fight, but we'll go away now. Obviously, going into tonight, we had our plans for March. Now we've got to reassess. Does he want to fight in March? We'll speak to Ben. You know, I know he'll want to stay active, I think, but I think he's in a wonderful position. I think that was a statement to say he's the man. He's the man to watch in 2024.
Can I ask Anthony then, would he rather fight Tyson Fury?
Oh.
Or, yeah, exactly.
Don't put me in this position. Would I rather fight who?
It's a cute Tyson Fury. Would you like to fight Tyson Fury?
Or who?
Or Hrgovic?
100% Tyson Fury, but I'm not dodging Hrgovic, by the way. I'll fight Hrgovic as well.
Does that put Ben in a difficult situation?
What's that?
Does that put Ben Davison in an interesting situation?
They're unnecessary questions. Unnecessary.
Good night and thank you.
Right, just a couple more, guys, before we wrap up.
Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
I'm sure you'll be tuning in to watch Fury Usyk on the 17th. I just wondered if we could get your thoughts on what you think will happen. What do you expect to see?
I'll try and be here. I tend not to go to many fights, but Saudi's putting on really good shows, and that's an iconic fight, so I'll try and get out here with my team. I think it's going to be a really, really good fight. If I'm going to be straight up, I'm leaning towards Usyk. But who knows? Who knows, innit? They're both at the top of their game. I wish them well. I hope they have a great training camp. And once that fight's out of the way, the heavyweight division opens up again, and all of us can start leading towards becoming champions. And I think I can't believe how great this card was. So many potential matchups, potential future stars on the card. So 2024 is going to be a big year for the heavyweight division. So I'm leaning towards Usyk. I'll be out here potentially, and I can't wait to see them fight. And as I said, this card was amazing. It's going to showcase the next superstars of the heavyweight division.
Yes, AJ, congratulations with the win. Joel Bayer here representing for TNT Sports. I want to talk about your preparation, right? So you came here, you were focused, a little bit short sometimes with the media. You just wanted to get it done and over with, right? Do you reckon that's probably the main reason why we saw you be the best that you've probably been in the last couple of years?
Not necessarily. Not because of the media. As the lady asked earlier, we have to stay focused, and I'm not short with the media, but I have to stay switched on. I don't want to lose my focus by coming out fight week and doing a load of media commitments. Now I would sit with you guys for hours.
No, it's fine.
No, we got to go soon.
But in terms of like the performance, I put that down to the Ben Davison Academy, man. They got a great team. And people it's like, oh, Joshua, just throw punches. As I said, if it was like that, everyone would be a champion. But they work extremely hard, and as I said, the light bulb switched. And I've been searching, and I'm really impressed with what they brought to the table. As I said, they're very articulate, attention to detail, just like myself, and I just want to do well, and they helped me do well tonight. And if you're going to call that my best performance, I want to give thanks to the Ben Davison Academy.
Come on now.
AJ, David here.
Yep,
How's
David
it going?
Alorca. Cheeky.
Come on.
Let's go.
First of all, just a major congratulations on the victory today.
Thank you, sir.
We spoke a couple of months ago and you stressed how much you wanted to fight 3 times this year. We're all glad that you did. Can we expect that same level of activity in 2024?
Well, yeah, for me, I would love to speak to the team. It's a great question to ask my team. Ben, Fred, Ed, do you want to fire away and speak about what the plans are? I've got a great team that look after me and take care of a lot of things where I can just focus on being the best fighter I can be. So if anyone else wants to lead that question.
Yeah, I think we'll all talk together as a team. I think it was so refreshing to see you fight 3 times this year, because with the belts and with COVID and with mandatories, it's so difficult to get that activity, and I think that was a big plus. And we want to thank Saudi Arabia as well and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, because it looked like December was going to pass us by.
Facts.
And we got a call with 6 weeks to go against a tricky southpaw, and AJ and Ben and Fred, they just said, yep. And without this opportunity tonight, we wouldn't have got those 3 fights in 2023. So we'll sit down as a team with 258 and Ben, and then map out. But having fought on December 23 with a plan to fight in March or whenever, 3 fights can definitely be an option for 2024 as well. Right, guys, last question, okay?
Hi, I'm Nargis from MBC channel. Tell us about the support that given to you from your family and your friends, and how affected positively. And by the way, your smiling is so beautiful. Stay smiling.
Me or Eddie?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
You and Eddie.
I forgot the question now.
Was that one to me?
Is that about my smile? What was the question?
It was the effect of your friends and family to your
Okay.
victory.
Look, Saudi Arabia is amazing, yeah. They had a great time. So they had so much to do that they wasn't really worried about me. And they enjoyed the event. The whole card was phenomenal. So they came, they had a good time. My family's actually became boxing fans. Some of my family have fought before, and some of them haven't. And the ones that haven't actually enjoyed the show, the whole setup. So they let me focus. They understand that even though their nephew, brother, son, cousin, whatever it may be, is fighting, it's not just entertainment. He needs to focus. And they leave me to do my job. And we'll catch up another time. So yeah, I want to say thank you to Saudi Arabia. Also, I want to say thank you to David Ganser from 258 Management. Oh, I didn't realize he was so loved. Stand up, my busky. Yeah, for pulling this show together. You know, last minute, you've done your thing. I appreciate you so much. Honestly, thank you so much for pulling this show together, getting us back on that gravy train. Anybody looking for management from any walks of life in sport, shout out 258 Management. They do a great job. I recommend them, and I think that's the wrap now. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Yeah. What an end to 2023.
Merry Christmas.
We'll see you all in 2024. God bless.